What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
Dude, I am so sorry for the mix up. That is my bad, dude.
No worries at all. Yeah, I was talking to Audrey and she didn't like really clarify, so it's kind of my fault too. I should have clarified that. We got like a ton of stuff going on, so I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, dude. I know, I get it. That's why I felt really bad because I'm like, dude, you guys are busy people. You got a lot going on, and I just like I always feel terrible when I mix stuff up and it's not like clear.
Yeah, no worries, dude.
So how the heck are you, dude?
I'm doing good, man. I mean, things have been crazy, but it's been really, really cool. How you doing?
Oh, dude, just doing stellar. I like you said, busy.
Yeah.
but busy is better than bored, right? That's my motto.
Absolutely. And I was just like talking about like how busy and exhausted I've been feeling, but it's like for like dealing with like my mental health stuff and everything, like when I wasn't busy, it's just like it's a huge difference in comparison to like
Yeah,
what
dude.
I'd be sitting around just like dwelling in my own thoughts and everything, and now I'm just like super busy all the time, and it's like such a good feeling to be accomplishing everything that we're doing.
Dude, yeah. I mean, that's honestly, it's super essential to like having being in a good mental place. Like, I don't think people like give enough credit to like not just being busy to be busy, like for busy's sake, right? But like to actually
Right.
be working towards something and accomplishing stuff. Like, it's so
Absolutely.
essential, man. Like, that's what our brains are wired to rely on. Like goals and direction and stuff.
Right.
So, dude, that's super dope, man. I mean, I guess first off, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, bro. I
No,
really
thanks for
appreciate you taking the time.
absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I mean, it's crazy that to me that people like want to talk to me.
Dude, it's so funny cuz like I'm in the same boat on the other side. Like I'm in the exact same. I'm like, dude, I'm surprised bands want to take time to talk to me. So this is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's super dope. Just to kind of start out, I always like to just do quick introduction. Allow you to tell us who you are and do something like elementary school style. Something unique about you that people may not know.
All right. Well, my name is Nick Farah. From Worcester, Massachusetts. Currently living in Connecticut right now, though. Um, my entire life is this band, dude. Like, like I
Nice,
go to
dude.
work, and like when I'm not at work, I'm just doing band stuff. So I mean, that's my life is an open book. You see me on socials and everything I've got going on. Oh, thank you, man.
Man, it turned out really good. I was like I didn't know what to expect, quite honestly, because like in my mind I was like, all right, he's got Ice Nine Kills featured. That means I was expecting like I didn't know what to because I don't listen to a whole lot of like metalcore or anything like that, but like
Okay.
I was expecting a much harder song, and then I was like, wait, there's a lot of melodic parts and a lot
Yeah.
of like, so dude, it like caught me off guard in a really good way. I really enjoyed the song a lot.
That's awesome. I really love it. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
So,
this
oh, go on.
the song actually, because like the EP that we've been working on is kind of like loosely based on the stages of grief,
Oh,
right? So
sick.
this particular song is the last one that's on the EP, and it kind of just like ties it all together. So it's not just like this one song being about acceptance, but like in the song itself, it's like the EP goes through the stages of grief, kind of like again loosely based.
Hmm.
Because we went into it like with that idea, but then we kind of like stayed away from it, so we didn't get like pigeonholed into like one particular thing. So it's loosely based
Yeah.
on there, but this song kind of not only wraps up the EP as a whole, but the song within itself kind of goes through all of those stages as well, and it's so fitting, like from the lyrics to the instrumentals and everything. I absolutely love the way that came out.
Dude, that's
So
so
excited about
cool.
it.
Yeah, man, that's super dope. When does the EP drop?
We don't have a set date for it yet.
Okay.
We're going to be working on two more songs. We have five that are done now, so it's we've been talking about. either just going with these five and pushing this and then, going from there, or we might do two more and include those. I'm still not 100% sure, but probably somewhere in the beginning of next year, we're going to have it like a set date for it.
Dude, that's so exciting, man. And you've released two songs so far, right?
There's been, this is the fourth song that
Oh,
we've
the fourth.
released.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I've only listened to two, so I apologize. I wish I was more
Oh, no, that's
prepared.
okay.
But yeah, dude, I like with I'm very curious because you obviously said that you were basing it off of the stages of grief and mourning, right? Like that the process of kind of overcoming a loss, I'd imagine. What what inspired that? Like why go with that direction? Was it just kind of something that felt like you needed to do, or was it the pandemic? What was it that kind of led you guys to go off of that? Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
There's so much, like there's so much to unwrap right there, dude. Like that's that's
Yeah, it's
amazing,
what
honestly.
like I really love the way that we've been doing things, because it's like with that for every song that we have, even if going back to Nothing You Could Say, which was the first video that we shot and put out, that on the surface level, that song, it sounds and it feels like a cliche relationship breaking up song.
Mm-hmm.
But and when you dig into it, it's really more about the relationship that I have with myself and me dealing with the borderline personality disorder, the PTSD, and how I feel about myself and the internal struggle that I have with
Dang.
that. So like every song that we do, we're trying to write it from two different sides with saying one set of lyrics talking about two different things. So we're trying to cast a wider net. So it's not very specific as to my stuff, but anybody could relate to it and make it fit their stuff.
Dang, dude. Is that like when you're writing then is there quite a bit of collaboration from yours cuz first off um I could never pinpoint like why I could tell if a band was invested, right? Like I could like there was just something about when I would listen to an album I could tell if it was like genuine, you know what I mean? Like I would listen to
Right.
music and I was like this band loves what they do. You could just kind of feel it. There was just an energy there, and you finally hit it on the head for me, which was you had to feel the words you were singing so you could hear it in your voice, and that was like boom, a light like went off in my mind. I was like, that's what it is. That's what I'm looking for when I find a band. Like I'm looking for someone who is like invested in it mentally,
Exactly.
emotionally, physically, and it's manifest physically, right? Like it actually is manifest in the way you sing. um and so I'm glad that you said that because it like I said it kind of it finally helped me realize what it is that I could tell, like why I could tell a band was invested in their music, you know. um but I am curious, like with the writing, are you solely writing the lyrics, or is there anyone else writing with you?
Casey and I do the majority. Casey is he does the majority of the cleans and plays rhythm
Okay.
guitar. Him and I do the majority of the lyrics. Ricky, Eric, our bassist, he helps coming in to kind of like clean things up, or like I'll have like a set of lyrics and he's very good at coming in to be like, you can say this same thing that you're trying to say in a better way, and then he'll come at it with something else and kind of just like give the
Okay.
a second opinion, right?
He's
And
kind of the
I'm not the type
Grammarly.
of writer that like I have something that I want to say
Yeah.
each song. Like I'll go into a song and be like, this is what I want the song to be about. This is the message that I want to convey, but I don't let myself get married to specific lines or anything like that. I'm like,
Just the
as long as the
concept.
song is conveying this message, I don't care how we say it for the most part, as long as it fits and it sounds good and says that message.
Yeah.
And then Ricky Armelino, who has been our producer for the back half of this EP, also has given some insight onto things by we've just kind of he kind of like had like therapy sessions with us, kind of just like talking to us about like different things, and can help to
Yeah.
find the emotion and what we're going for, and again can help like spitball some ideas. I mean the feature, excuse me, I'm sorry,
No, you're good, man. No
the
problem.
feature that he did, he actually wrote the lyrics himself,
Oh,
and he
sick.
sat there and just we were sitting in the studio and I'm just like listening to him, and he just starts like humming, and then he just starts singing some lines, and then he just did it like just right there on the spot. And he's a phenomenal you know writer. Like he can do everything. He's so
That's
great.
cool. That I mean that does make sense. Like and when you are sitting down and writing lyrics, and like you were talking about having the two sides to this story, right? Like you're trying to convey something in broad enough terms but also in specific terms at the same time. It's obviously, it sounds contradictory, but I get what you're saying. um is that something like when you go into writing a song, um you guys coordinate and say, hey, this is the topic we're looking to tackle, or like when or do you basically say, hey, I've got all these things, and then obviously, like you were saying, Eric, he comes in and kind of cleans things up. I compared him to like Grammarly, right? He's like he's like
Yeah.
the oh, you could say this way, and it's more concise and a little bit clearer. It's like, oh, okay, perfect, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But like, how do you guys go about that when it comes to like each of these songs, when you're putting down the lyrics? Like, how do you guys coordinate the
um
to get a consistency? Because that's the thing that confuses me a lot of times when there's multiple writers, is having a consistent, cohesive feel.
we have very consistent inconsistencies. So every single song that we have written has we've had a different experience in how it
Oh,
came to
cool.
be each time. One of my favorite things that we did was for Borderline. That was the one song that I knew I needed to write about my stuff and kind of explain things. And I had some stuff to say to some certain people in my life that are no longer in my life.
Yeah.
It all came out in that song. And the way that that came about was I knew exactly what I wanted to say. I had, let me backtrack a little bit here too.
Yeah.
My writing style is a little bit different too. So I don't necessarily sit down and start writing lyrics to a song. I will just be driving through my day or whatever, and I'll just lines will pop into my head, and I have a note of just all random lyrics, like
Heck
nothing
yeah.
specific to one specific song. It's just something that I want to say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like this, it sounds good. And then I go back and I'll kind of like pull out lyrics or lines from that. And I'm like, this all fits what I'm trying to say for this song. We put it in there and then we kind of piece it together or change words around.
Okay.
But then also on top of that, Casey had given me like 5 questions. He had asked me some certain things because he's very good. He's very not like he has a very good insight into this stuff that I do or whatever. He knows me
Yeah.
pretty like really well. So he asked me these questions. I answered them. Kind of came back in like essay form with all the questions that he had asked me, and then we took all of that and then put them into the song. And that was my favorite way that we have gone about it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's been a different way we've done it each song.
Yeah. See, that's so cool. Like there's so many different ways to write. Like I don't think there's a right and a wrong way to write music, but it's fascinating to like to hear the way, because the one thing that I constantly harp on when I'm like talking with people about why music is so powerful or can be so powerful is the good musicians are willing and prepared to be vulnerable. They're going to share the stuff that makes them feel most uncomfortable or the stuff that has kind of been the darkest, because when they get that out there, there's kind of two things that come from it. First off, it's a purging of that darkness from yourself, but then it's also kind of like helps others to find that darkness in themselves and purge it as well. And as you've been writing, obviously, you've talked about a lot of the things that you've already gone through, and we'll go into those as deep as you want to go or as shallow as you want to go. That's completely up to you. I don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm all about making sure that you're sharing exactly what you want to share. But really, like, when you were talking about those things, like, it sounds like, even at the very beginning of our conversation, you mentioned how much better your mental health is because of what you're doing right now. Is that because you're writing these things and kind of purging that, like I was talking about, or is it that it is just solely because you're working so hard and you're focused on what is it about the music that has and this project that has made your mental health so much better?
I think it's a combination of everything. It's a common, you get the cathartic experience of being able to put out, like you said, get it off my chest. I have things that I'm writing about, and that's been eating away at me since I was a kid,
Yeah.
and to get it out there and then just get it off of my chest and get it out has been like a huge thing. But at the same time, I've been working towards being, a professional musician since I was 16. And like I said, I just turned 30. So, almost half my life I've been working for this. And it's only been the last year and a half that it's finally like gained any kind of traction.
Yeah.
And this is the only thing like I spent so long knowing what my passion was and knowing what I want out of life, but not knowing how to do it or feeling like I was good enough to do it or feel like anything. So to finally have this, like sense of relief that everyone has kind of like been so supportive and accepting and can see, the drive that I have, that I want what I want for this band. And not only like, cause I don't really care about fame. I don't care about money or anything like that. This is what makes me happy. And this is what I want to do with my life. I don't care to sell my life to corporations that couldn't care less about me for,
Yeah.
pennies on the dollar. If I'm going to be broke touring across the country, doing what makes me happy, that's success to me, right?
Yeah.
I don't care about any of that other stuff. Um, and being able to be a voice for people who don't have that, which is huge for me. Is I mean, like bands like Beartooth, like Moss to
Hmm.
Flames, Polaris, like those type of bands. For me, though, they were my voice for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I listen to any like Moss to Flames song. I feel like if I had a conversation with Chris that about my life, though, like those songs would be the product of it. Like
Yeah.
it's so fitting. And I want to be that for somebody else, and that's what I'm striving for.
Heck yeah, dude. I mean, and that's super powerful. And that's like I love this is one of my favorite things about talking to musicians is what you were talking about, you know, being broke but doing something that you love and like making a difference in the world. Like too much of society has determined that success is solely based on financial means, right? Like it all comes down to the fiscal, right? It's like, oh, I can retire at 65. I'm a successful person. Or, you know, like I got my kids the nicest this or the nicest that, or I drive the nicer car and this and that. And I'm like, you know, my wife and I, we've talked about this a lot. I'm like, my definition of success is like coming home at night and hanging out with my kids and being able to do that every night. Like that's my
Right.
definition of success, you know, like having being a present dad is
That's awesome.
right. Like that's my definition of success. That has nothing to do with money, aside from that I make enough to have a roof over our heads where I can do that, right? Like that's, it doesn't
Exactly.
matter what that roof is to me. And it took me a long time to get to that place mentally. And I am curious for you, like you said, you've been working at this since you were 16, and it sounds like it's been a pretty big journey because obviously for 12 of those years, 12 of the last 14 years, it wasn't doing what it is now. And what, like, how did you do it? Like how did you keep going when it wasn't like the thing that you wanted, the thing that you were most wanting out of life wasn't happening?
So I started in music, being playing drums. All right. So I wanted to be a drummer for the longest time, and I was decent. I wasn't really any great at it. I tried to be in a couple different bands, and we never really did anything. We wrote some songs and we programmed them out, but we never like played shows or
Yeah.
did music videos or even released music or anything. It was just stuff that we did. But the feeling that I got from doing that was unlike anything I've ever experienced in my
Yeah.
life at that point. Um, and then there was just, again, because at that time, I knew that's what I wanted out of life. I didn't have the means to do it. I was insecure. I didn't feel like I had the talent to make it work or anything like that. And things just kind of like fell apart because we weren't on the same page with what we wanted. Like,
Mm-hmm.
as I knew I wanted to be a musician, but the other people, they wanted to be in a band for, to be cool or to get girls or, whatever, not
Yeah.
because it, made them happy or that's what they
Yeah,
wanted
not
to
because they
do. It was
actually
just something
cared.
that they were doing at that time.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so then I met some other people later down the road, and I decided, let me get from behind the kit. We'll get somebody else who can actually play drums, and I'll play bass. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll write the simplest bass lines, and I'll just go crazy on stage, and maybe my stage presence will make up for my lack of ability.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So again, same scenario after that, and it just didn't work. I wasn't good enough and didn't have the right people around me. I was bouncing around from place to place. I didn't really have a steady place to live. Couldn't hold down a job, trying to deal with like the mental health and
Mm-hmm.
not really having, the means that I needed to.
Yeah.
Um, and then fast forward years, probably like 5 or 6 years later, I decided to sell all of my equipment and decided to buy myself recording equipment. So I got the same Mac that I bought, probably like 5 or 6 years ago. Now I got the same speakers, same microphone, same interface. I got all the same equipment, and
Mm-hmm.
all I did was I've always loved singing. I would sing, I would scream along in the car. Again, wasn't really all that good at it, but I enjoyed it and it made me happy. And so rather than just going to work, coming home and playing video games or whatever, I needed to get that like fix of
Mm-hmm.
serotonin, right? So
Yep.
I just would scream and sing, and eventually a friend of mine was just like, dude, you should just do some covers and do make some videos and stuff and just put them on YouTube. And I was just, okay. So I did that, and then that's where it all kind of like rolled from there. I mean, you listen to my first covers. I mean, they're awful. They're I was a horrible vocalist, but I just loved it so much that I just kept doing it. And I figure worst case scenario, I'm having fun, so whatever. And then I, got in touch with Ricky. They saw my first video that I put out, and they gave me a shot to audition, and it's ever since then.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, the I think the main difference is you probably started a little later in terms of what, like, obviously going from drums to bass, like you're kind of starting you're basically starting from scratch, right? And then from bass to singing, starting from scratch again. But I'm fairly certain that everyone who's good or great or fantastic or phenomenal at anything sucked at one point, right? So it's
Yeah.
like it's all a matter, like the only difference between the person who sucks and continues to suck and the person who sucks and then becomes fantastic is persistence and like just pushing through all the adversity, right? Like that's the only difference.
Yeah,
And
I mean, you can like take into thought in the new song, "Damaged Art." I have a very small, clean singing part. I still think that my clean singing is terrible, but that was like a good take, and Ricky was able to help me
yeah.
with that, and we made it work. But it's still like this. Like, I've only been doing vocals for like 6 years now, and I focus so heavily on the screaming that now that I'm trying to learn how to sing,
It's a
it's a
different art form.
mess. I'm trying to project the same way I do when I scream, and it's like singing is so much more difficult than screaming, at least in my opinion.
See, that's, I'm
Yeah,
sure,
it's
a singer would say the exact opposite,
yeah.
right? But
But I
it's that
mean,
you've
I'm
put so
working
much
at it. It's
time.
something I love it, and I feel like if you ever get to a point where you feel like you don't need to practice anymore, or that you're good and you don't hate everything that you're doing, then you're never going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you talk to any artist for the most part, and they'll tell you all the time that they're like, I suck, or this is terrible. You talk to a photographer, like all these shots are terrible. Talk to an engineer, and they're like, this mix is trash. Like, like every.
Yeah, and it's just like there's like the fact is too, like one of the things that's most impressive though is that you went from, you started out and you self proclaimed terrible, right? Like you're just like you admitted to yourself, you're like, this is terrible, but the fact was like you still posted it, and that's some balls, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the thing that a lot of people are too scared, too self-conscious, too in their own head about. They're unwilling to post it, right? And that's the difference. That's the key. That's the thing um that takes you out and takes you to that next step. It's not all the way where you need to go or all the way where you want to go, but it takes you to that next step, which is, hey, like I can only improve if I'm willing to try and improve. And when you start sharing those things and posting those things, that, I mean, what a terrifying feeling.
Dude,
Like,
let me. I could show you some. Like, there's so many covers I have on my YouTube channel. There's this one in particular. I covered "Low" by Wage War.
uh-huh.
Screams on it are fantastic. The singing on it is god awful. It makes me cringe every single time. You look at in the comments too. Everyone's roasting me about like just how bad the singing is. It's just, and back then too, I'm covering songs that I like. Right.
Mhm.
So I like that song. I wanted to sing it. So I did. And I knew that it was good, but I mean, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Right. But I posted it anyway. And then, now that I'm learning to sing and stuff, I'm like, it's out of my range. Right. That's not something that I knew, back then when I covered that song. I wasn't thinking about these types of things. Now that I am more comfortable with my voice, I know. I just didn't know back then,
Yeah.
right? So now I could change things around and have my own voice rather than trying to like imitate what other people are doing.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, like I said, like the willingness to have the thick skin to post that even when, like, I don't know, because that's the thing that's always terrified for me. Like it's been terrifying for me. Is I've always been so self-conscious about so many things, and like the fear of criticism is just like it's not just me. Most people are too scared of criticism, right? It's just like they allow that fear of someone who they don't know, who they don't care about, who doesn't care about them. Like they're literally some unknown figure. They're going to let that person impact all of this potential in the future. And like I said, I commend you for not allowing that to happen. Just being like, well, I'm gonna do it anyway, because that's super sick, dude. And I obviously it's made a huge difference, because now things are really cruising with what your band, like Hidden Figures is like killing it, right? So it's
I
like
appreciate
that
it,
makes a
man. Yeah.
difference.
No, I mean, I'm definitely still super insecure, and those things still get to me. Like, I mean, somebody commented on every time we put out a video, we partner with Space on Travel, their
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channel.
Okay.
And somebody commented on there yesterday, and they were like, the lead singer is a sad, sad man. And that's still today is sticking with me. And I'm like, I don't know who this person is. I don't know what they meant by that. And it still kills me, but still going to do it anyway. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't feel like those insecurities really ever go away. And I'm always going to be in the comments looking at everything.
Yeah, dude. eh, I I've asked this a ton of times, and I think you kind of alluded to the answer. You kind of said it a little bit, but I want you to go more in depth. Like, how do you handle it? How do you actually like maintain positivity and maintain focus in the midst of those types of comments?
Antidepressants.
Hey, I mean,
No,
there you go.
yeah, it's I mean, it's a mix of I'll be honest, like therapy has been a big thing for me. Like I've learned a lot over the past year and a half in therapy, and have learned better coping skills with things. Like something like that would eat me alive like years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
my support system now is better than it's ever been. And when I'm in a headspace like that, I have people, my girlfriend especially, that I could go to and tell her that, this has happened, I'm feeling this way, and she can reassure me. The band reassures me
Yeah.
about different things. So I have the I don't know how to say it, like not courage, but I know now that I have people that love me and support me, and I can lean on them.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And dealing firsthand, I mean, again, like I said, I survived 2 suicide attempts, and one of them, I never felt more alone in my life. At that point, I was living in New York by myself, and I just felt like I had nobody. And
Yeah.
I wasn't reaching out to anybody, and just took those drastic measures because I just wanted that pain to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so just leaning on the people and trusting the people around you, that they actually do care about you regardless of what your head is telling you.
Yeah.
And that's something that's taken me a long time to learn and be comfortable with. But you just got to have those hard conversations.
Yeah,
And this
dude.
band over the past 2 years has taught me a lot as well. And I'm just so grateful to everybody who's been a part of it. Not just my bandmates, but like Dan Horahan, who's our director. He's been a very good friend of mine, that anytime anything crazy is going on or my head is giving me all kinds of crazy stuff, he can calm me down or talk me off the ledge.
Yeah.
All of the different photographers that we've been working with. Ricky has been really great about different things. Our manager Dave, just there's a slew of different people. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's that.
Yeah, no, dude. I like I said, for me, I like one of the biggest things that terrifies me is the idea that someone I care about could feel that alone. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. I
the
mean, that's been like I was saying earlier, like I want to be that voice for people, but it's so important to me. Like more so than anything, I want to be able to go and do these tours and go to these shows. And if I can even touch one person and help them, pull them out of that space that I was in when I was alone and had nobody, that's the biggest thing for me, is being able to help people that way.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think just knowing that there are people out there, right? Like the fact is, like, if anyone's listening and they feel that way, like, it's your mind is a very powerful thing for positive and for negative, right? Like your mind has the ability to really help you accomplish amazing things, but it can also trick you into thinking things that just really are detrimental. And
Absolutely.
I think it's really like, for me, like I try to remember and like realize, because this is the hard part for someone like me. I haven't struggled with a lot of the difficulties of mental health myself. Like I have through other people. I've got family members and stuff who suffer, and the biggest thing is just realizing being there is essential. Just letting them know, like, because that feeling of being alone, like when you were in New York and you had that feeling of being alone, like when you survived, what were your feelings when you woke up and everything was still like, and if this is too personal, don't
Yeah,
answer.
absolutely. No, I'm like I said, I'm an open book. I'm happy to tell you. I mean, you're gonna think this answer is probably kind of stupid, but I'm I was coming in and out of. So when I attempted suicide, I had taken a bunch of pills. I tried to overdose on medication.
Okay.
So when the paramedics came and like took me away, I was like drifting in and out of consciousness. And I remember waking up in the ambulance, going to the hospital, telling them that they should have left me at the house because I wasn't going to pay the bill for the ambulance ride.
Yeah.
And that was like, that's how screwed up my head is. Like rather than being concerned about my health, I was so concerned about money.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm in the hospital. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to pay for this. There's no way. And then I was admitted to the hospital. I had to stay there for 2 weeks. So then, I got hit with a crazy bill. And that's all it was just me thinking about money the entire time, rather than thinking about how am I going to get myself better and not end up in this situation. I feel like being in New York was like the worst year and a half of my life, 2 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But it also led to the best years of my life, which is what's happening right now. If I never went there, I would have never ended up in the situation that I'm in now. So I'm not a religious person by any means. Hard for me to like believe in fate or anything, but just like coincidentally, like there's so many things that like if one thing would have happened slightly different, it would just be my entire life would be completely different.
Yeah, dude. It's funny because I am really religious. Like I'm at church every week, and
Okay.
I'm a very big believer in God and his infinite love, right? Like, and it's really cool to hear your story, and I'm actually really curious to know the in between, where it went from. You've got this worried about, and this is, I've been on the fence a lot in terms of like I'm a pretty middle of the road type of political person.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I am adamant about is that our healthcare system is broken. I don't know how to best fix it, but
Yeah.
the fact that someone in your position could like that the world is so broken that rather than being concerned about the fact that you are like you actually survived, this miracle happened, that like you're still alive and you're breathing, like rather than focusing on that miracle, you focused on the fear of this big bill. Like that's, like I said, I don't think like a socialized medical system fixes that problem necessarily, but I
Yeah.
also know that our current system is broken because that concern should not. And that's where a lot of drug addicts and a lot of alcoholics, they're in that same type of boat. They can't afford the treatment, right?
Right.
To really help them. And so that was kind of going nowhere in my, but I do like that. For me, I just want to like put my opinion out there that
Yeah.
like that's a problem that you had to think about that,
No, I agree.
but like I said, I am curious to know that what happened between there, right? You wake up, this whole thing goes down, you survive, right? And it leads to where you are now. What were the steps from then to when like you joined the band and everything started going well?
So before I moved to New York, I was when we actually started writing together for the first time.
Oh, okay.
We had a band like a jam space and everything, and we were hanging out for maybe like a year or so, maybe like a year and a half, and we ended up losing our jam space because we were sharing the space with a couple other bands, and they decided that they were going to start putting shows on at the practice space. And then the owner found out because it was above a business and stuff, and cops got called and we all got kicked out.
Dang it.
And then the band kind of just like fell apart from there. And I was engaged at the time, and my ex-fiance was pregnant. She miscarried. The band fell apart, and our relationship was ending, and everything was just kind of like crumbling. So I was just like, I'm going to sell my house, and I'm going to move to New York. And then, fast forward, all that stuff happened, and I actually ended up getting after I got out of the hospital, I went back to work, and I actually got a promotion at the job. So in that position that I got actually was based out of where I lived previously in Massachusetts. So it brought me right back to where I was. And at this time, that's when, like I said earlier, how Tim had passed away, and they did that reunion show. All of this kind of was like happening at the same time, and that's when they decided that they were going to continue and do it again. And then I moved back, and then we were like, all right, like this is all coming together. Like, let's get back together and do this for real. We had a conversation about how serious we were going to take it, how serious we all were about everything, and all of the sacrifices that we would need to make in order to make it work the way that we were wanting it to. And had a very clear vision for where we wanted to be and how we were going to get there. It was just a matter of if everyone was on board with that.
Dang.
And it's just been like that since. So I mean, like, COVID kind of like held us back, but also helped propel us forward, because I met Dan, who at the time was directing for Ice Nine Kills and was going on tour and doing lights with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for COVID, they would have been on the road, and I never would have been able to meet them. So it's just like one coincidence after the other, as far as just like things happening in a very specific way, that if one thing was slightly different, it wouldn't be happening.
I believe in coincidence, right? Like, things will happen, but one coincidence is I was actually joking with my wife about this the other day, because I was like, it's just happenstance if a girl sees a guy 2 days in a row. It's like, oh, that's random, that's a coincidence. But then that girl sees that guy for a third day in the row. It's like, okay, it's a little strange. And then the fourth day in a row, you're like, okay, there's something wrong here. And then after 5, 6, 7 days in a row, the guy's stalking her, right? Like that. Yeah. too many coincidences becomes like a conspiracy, right? Yeah. And I'm just convinced that someone, somewhere, something was conspiring for you. And it's cool to hear all this, how it all came together, because like so many coincidences falling into place. It's just like, dude, it was just meant to be, bro. Like
that's how it feels, honestly. I mean, it's like I spent so long struggling, trying to figure out what to do with myself, how to live, how to survive in this life, and music has always been the thing that has been able to pull me out of my own head to keep me sane. And then I that's how I knew, like, this is what I want to be doing with my life. And then for it to finally like become a reality, and something that I've wanted my entire life is within grasp, is just very surreal. I mean, I don't know if you've seen online, but I did an interview with Worcester Magazine, which is like the magazine for the city that we are from.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So now I have that whole article. It's like on my fridge. Like, something that has just been like there my entire life. Now I'm a part of that. Like, it's
dude,
crazy.
I mean, it's so it's so funny. I have you ever like watched or heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
No.
Okay. Well, he's like a venture capitalist, but he's also like an entrepreneur, like just a serial entrepreneur. And he's like a social media. He's really big into social media and big in the sphere there in terms of influence and stuff. and one of the things that that he kind of is always pushing for is like this feeling of like authenticity, and this feeling of excitement and doing things just because you love doing them. um and for you, like, how, like, I'm trying to think of how to word the question, because another thing that he talks about is like how young we are, right? Like, at 20, I remember even this year, my wife and I just barely started the process of like looking to buy a home, right? We're like thinking about buying a home, and I'm like, man, I'm like 31 years old, and I haven't even like been even close to being able to afford a home, to even like, there's so much involved in it. I was like, I've got a bunch of friends who have houses, and I'm just like, dude, like, what's wrong with me, right? But then I like listen to him. He's like, 25, dude, you got like 75 years to go, right? And he's like, 60, great time to start. And I was just like, and he just has this perspective, right? And for you, like 30 and like just really starting to take off, it's like, dude, there's still so much runway ahead. And like when you were in New York, was it like when you were feeling alone and kind of stuck there, was it that you felt like there was no time to ever do what you wanted to do? Or because like one of the things I want people to grasp is like, at 30 years old, you have so much time to still kill it as a musician, even though, yeah, you worked for 14 years up to this point and haven't accomplished everything you want yet. That doesn't mean jack squat, because now is where you're starting. You know what I mean? Like you can start right now and still absolutely kill it. You know what I'm saying?
I kind of have like mixed feelings about it, because you could be the best musician in the world, but this business is extremely ugly and extremely shallow. That's when true. It comes to the marketing part of it. And that's where 30, yes, is relatively young, but then on the flip side of that, marketing wise, you got people that have been doing it since they were kids, right? So like, yeah, there's people who are older than me that are still doing it, but they've also been touring since they were 16, 17, right? So now I'm 30 years old trying to break into the music scene. My metabolism isn't the way that it used to be. So I'm getting a little bit of a pudge. So there's like that, like, the marketing thing that comes with it. So like I have all those insecurities that I deal with all the time, but I feel like the people that we have around us, and the message that I'm trying to convey, and the quality of content that we're putting together, like we'll be able to work through that. But again, it's just those insecurities that I have, that it's like, if it doesn't happen by this time, it's like the longer that it takes, the more unlikely it is to happen. So like we're kind of like pedal to the metal, trying to get things to happen as quickly as possible. I don't know. Those are just my insecurities on it. I'm sure from somebody from the outside looking in, it's completely different, but that's how I think. Those are the types of thoughts that I have.
No, and I mean, one thing that I will say is like, regardless of, and this is something that is hard for most people to really grasp, or like even to care about, is like, regardless of how founded or invalid, or founded or unfounded, valid or invalid a thought is, to the person who's thinking it, it's founded, it's valid, it's right. it's completely like genuinely a concern, right? And so like I can hear what you're saying and acknowledge that, like, yeah, I feel what you're feeling, but I'm also like, dude, with the talent you've got, with the message you have, with the things that you have gone through, and what you've got to share, dude, like 30 is so young and you've
Yeah.
got so much time. And so it's like, it's because you're in a unique position. And so like, I don't want to say, hey, what you're thinking is completely unfounded and invalid, because it's not. It's, to you
Yeah.
especially, it's very valid. But from the outside looking in, it genuinely, it seems like, dude, this is just the start of a great thing. So
And those are like some of the other concerns I have too, is like I'm I don't want this to sound like I'm concerned about it, because like, again, this is all I want out of life, so I will sacrifice anything and everything to make it happen.
yeah.
But at the same time, there's that voice in the back of my head, is like, I don't want to ever be homeless again. I dealt with that for years, bouncing around from place to place.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm going to invest all of the money that I have and the time that I have into this, and then it doesn't work out, there's so much time that I wasted that I could have spent trying to build a career to build a better life for, myself and, my family now.
Yeah.
But everyone is so supportive of me, and they know, and they can see, and they can hear how passionate I am about this, that I have to go for it.
Yep.
But so at the same time, I don't want to let anybody down. And there's so many people behind me that, like, there's so much added pressure with everything. It's just like, I'm so in love with what I'm doing, but I'm also so stressed and so scared about everything all at the same time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've made my success being a salesman, which is so funny that, because I'm super introverted and I like to keep to myself. So I'm a front man, I'm in sales, like it's completely contradictory to who I am as a person. But
Yeah.
so I'll always be able to find work, and I'll be able to turn things around. And I'm not concerned about that in the slightest, but it's just like you said, maybe I could be building towards like a big house or something. Yeah, I don't know. Again, just things that I think about. But I don't want that to take away from what I'm saying. Just again, those
No,
insecurities.
dude, I get that. I absolutely get that. Like, there's, one of the topics that most intrigued me when I took statistics was the topic, or the concept of opportunity cost, right? Like, for every choice you make, and obviously in economics it was all money related, but just in life in general, every choice you make, there's a cost associated, right? There's a benefit, but there's also a cost, and you're always weighing this cost and benefit ratio, right? It's like, all right, how much benefit do I get? Does it outweigh the cost of this opportunity? And in your case, it's that weighing of doing something you absolutely love and pursuing something that you genuinely are great at and care about, and the potential cost there is a few extra years of financial security going towards some future. And that's the cool thing, is that's everyone's decision to make on their own. But I think that with that founded concern, dude, like, it's, I just continually go back, and this is the only thing that keeps me going, honestly, is like, I'm still young. I'm 31, but I'm still young, like, trying to remember that, like, there's so much ahead. So, like, if everything burns to the ground right now, I still have so much opportunity to pick it back up and fix it, And
Absolutely.
So, like, I completely, I am on the same page with you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, not, I'm too scared to take certain risks because of the potential backlash.
Right.
And I get that, dude. So I completely understand where you're coming from, and it's valid, dude. It's completely valid. But once again, I want to reiterate, dude, I commend you for doing it, because
Thank you, man.
It's the thing that so many people are unwilling to do, because it is scary. It's one of the most unstable, because in an instant things can turn positive or negative. And like, with your current, like, your current situation sounds like you're in a pretty fantastic headspace, comparative, especially with where you were at in the past. And as things have been, kind of going your way, what are some of the things that you're most excited for here in the near term with the band?
I'm most excited really to be playing more consistently. I mean, as
Yeah.
a band, Hidden Figures has only played one show so far,
Oh, dang.
because we got our start right when COVID, like we were in the studio getting ready to start recording, and COVID hit, and we got set back and couldn't play shows or anything like that. And then we needed to write, and then when things started to get lifted and shows were coming around again, we still had to keep writing because Ricky is in Hawk, he's in Ice Nine Kills, and he's our producer. So it's
Yeah.
like he's about to hit the road, and we need to get this stuff done because he's not going to be readily available to help us. So it took forever for us to finally get out there. And we played our first show. We opened up for Lions in New Hampshire, which was, it was a lot of fun. But we haven't done anything since then, which, I mean, we're still working on the EP. We're still practicing. I
Yeah.
actually just picked up this box behind me is full of new merch that we
Nice,
just
dude.
got.
Congrats.
So we got
That's
new
sick.
t-shirts and stuff. And I really just want to get out there and just start playing. I mean, I really want to go on tour. I want to, so many things that I want to do, but we have to take these smaller steps. And I'm the most impatient person in the world, man. I want to go.
That's
If
your
I could quit my
salesman in
job
you, dude.
now and go on tour, I would 100%.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. How does, like, what are the logistics of that, like, to go on tour? I'm assuming you guys are kind of going through all of the, like, kind of a checklist of what it'll take to make that make that a reality, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could do small, like our own funded tours if we got enough promoters and stuff on board with what's going on, but COVID is still kind of like an issue as
Mm-hmm.
far as that goes. We've been discussing about buying a van. One of the things that we knew that we were going to do is we were going to buy a brand new van, because we're not going to go on tour with a used van with 150,000 miles on
Yeah,
it and
dude.
broke down in the middle of Kentucky with nowhere to go.
Heard that
Right.
story so many times, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So like we're looking at these Sprinter vans, and they're like upwards of like 40 grand.
Yep.
Um, which we're just talking about different ways to make it happen, which we could make it happen tomorrow if we needed to, but with doing that, we're sacrificing other things, right? And it's like, if
Yep.
we're not actively playing shows, do we need the van right now? But it would also be better to be prepared and ready to go. And then it's also like, do we need to make the LLC for the band, and should we do it in the LLC name rather than it being in my name? And
Yep.
there's so many things going on, but the answer to your question is just playing shows, and I just want to get
Yeah.
out there and play shows.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something, like, especially, like, I've been really stoked, like, especially over the summer, like with COVID here in Utah, things have really, like, wound down, like, quite a bit. There aren't, like, many mandates or anything. The venues had mandates, but, like, it was just the venue's choice. And so
Yeah.
I've been able to go to a bunch of shows, and man, just getting back to that energy. Like, I don't like big crowds very much. I kind of sit in the back of the shows, but dude, just being there, like, with that energy. Like, I went to it was the Used in Coheed and Cambria, and it was
Oh
just
yeah, they came through Worcester.
crazy.
That tour came through Worcester.
Yeah, dude, it was just like crazy, like
Yeah.
insane amount of energy. Like, the number of people there was bonkers.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, this is where it's at, man. This is
Yeah.
like
There's
back
nothing like
to
it.
reality, you know? It's so exciting. So, dude, I don't blame you. That's awesome. And obviously with the merch, are you guys gonna be selling that online?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
We got the physical inventory so that we have stuff to go, play shows with and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. But it's all going to be online and everything like that too.
Dope. When are you gonna be posting it?
That's a great question. We have.
Well, hit me up when you do, so I can pick something up, dude.
Yeah, let me grab a share. I'll show you. Hold on one second.
Heck yeah, dude. I'd love to see it.
So it's kind of hard to see in the light there, but it's like our logo embedded in like there's like some like branches and like roses and stuff.
Yeah,
in
dude.
there, and then it's just got like the actual logo on the back there.
It's so metal. Like
Yeah.
the back, the front looks nice and chill, and then the back is just
Yeah.
so metal, dude. I love
Yeah.
it. Oh, it's amazing, dude. That's
We
amazing.
got beanies and stuff coming, and then we have a slew of other things like on our store that those are all made like to order.
Oh,
So
nice,
when
dude.
when you put it through, it'll get printed and sent out to you.
Dude,
So you can get any of that stuff right now.
I have been trying to tell bands, dude, just get on the print on demand game, dude. Like use Printful, use
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
what we use is
Yeah,
Printful.
Printful, their quality is
But
just untouchable. Like I love their quality. It turns out so good.
it's really good, but they're not the best when you're doing bulk orders. They're really great for one-off stuff. So like if you're
Yeah.
going to, as a fan, going and buying it, it's going to be fantastic. But for us as a band, if we want
Oh,
stuff to have physical on-hand inventory, it's not good for like bulk ordering like that,
huh.
because it's just they don't come out all the same. Like
Oh,
you'll have like a
dang.
bunch of mismatched stuff. So we went through Downright Merch, which is in Methuen, Massachusetts,
Sick.
and they did a phenomenal job. I mean, it's a company made by musicians, so they know exactly what's going on and how to help you out and stuff. I mean, they're to the point where like if we were on tour and we ran out of merch, we could tell them where our next show is. They'll do like a fast order and they'll send it to your next
Dude,
venue
that's
for
so
you.
cool.
Like a fantastic company.
That's awesome. Yeah, I recently partnered with um a company, and I haven't gotten anything released. Like I haven't like dropped any designs yet or anything, but yeah, dude, like finding someone that can kind of handle all that logistics for you, and someone that's consistent, because that's the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing when I was kind of like looking into it. I was like, I need consistency, because I'm kind of like anal about the quality of the clothing I wear.
Yeah.
And so like that consistency was really, really important to me. And so yeah, like I'm getting some just sample ones to take a look at and stuff, and it's exciting, man. Merch is fun.
Yeah.
I love being able to rep, because like I don't know, like I'm wanting to just get a bunch of hoodies this winter and just have like band hoodies, because like I love hoodies, and that's kind of my way of repping, you know. It's like,
There you
because
go.
t-shirts, I'm kind of just a simple t-shirt guy, but hoodies,
Yeah.
I'll go all out on hoodies.
It's awesome.
Yeah, bro. Well, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I know it's getting late there, but I always like to end my podcast with just really random questions. If you do, you still have a couple minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Sick, dude. All right, so this first one is due to the fact that I am a sugarholic and I eat way too much candy. So what's your favorite candy?
Reese's peanut butter cups are my favorite.
Solid. That's
Yeah, I'm laughing because my girlfriend for my birthday, she got me this box of Reese's, and there was like 18 packs of them, and the thing was just like this really long, just like package full of them.
That's
great.
amazing, dude. That's so awesome. What is does like your kid or your girlfriend ever steal them from you? Do they steal them from you?
She's not a big peanut butter fan, so I don't have to share them too much.
Oh,
which
nice,
is great.
dude. That's always convenient. Yeah, I always get like sugary like the sweet candy, you know, like Sour Patch and stuff like that. My two sons, dude, like the moment they see that I have Swedish Fish or Sour Patch, they're gone.Ey're like, dude, come on, man. Like, I bought that for me, not for you.
Yeah. Yeah. For sweet candy, I'm really, really partial to the chewy sweet tarts. Those things are dangerous for me.
So good, bro. Those little mini ones, right? The little tiny. Oh, dude, those things are freaking crack, man. They're so tasty. All right, next question here for you. This one, sometimes it's hard to come up with the top answer, but if you can't come up with one, I'll allow you to do your top three. But favorite movie?
Oof. Yeah. I'm an extremely big movie buff, so that's definitely difficult for me. Obviously I love all like the different series. I love the Marvel universe. I love Star Wars, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, all that stuff. But if we're gonna go with like one-off movies, not franchises, I'd probably say Boondock Saints is one of my all-time favorites. Running Scared is a very good movie in my opinion.
Never heard of that one.
Old movie with Paul Walker and not old, but older movie with Paul Walker and what's her face? I can't think of the actress's name. She played the mom on Bates Motel.
Oh, I know I can see the face in my mind because that TV show
from Migmia or something like that. Something like that. But yeah, movie is phenomenal. Really great movie.
So that was that during like Paul Walker's like heyday of like Fast and the Furious 1 and 2 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, back then. And I'd say probably Gran Torino. That Clint Eastwood movie.
Heck yeah, dude.
Great movie. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So obviously, this is a tangent, but I see obviously the Stormtrooper in R2D2. So there's some love there for my favorite franchise. I am a huge Star Wars guy. What would your ranking be of the movies, like best to worst of the Star Wars movies?
I love episode 3. I think episode 3 is my favorite
Okay.
out of all of those.
That
So it
one's a
would be
good one.
like,
I like that one. It's definitely not my top, but I do like that one
yeah,
a lot.
episode 3 is my favorite. I love the story of Anakin.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but at the same time, I mean, like the Skywalker boys are all very whiny, very annoying.
Yeah.
Uh, but so episode 3, the original trilogy, episode 1 and 2, and then the newer ones.
Okay. So the new ones are way at the bottom for you, huh?
Oh yeah, I strongly dislike all of the newer ones. I'll watch them, but I
Well,
don't get, and I'm not gonna get started on
when
it.
you say new ones, does that include Rogue One and Solo?
I only watched a little bit of Solo, so I can't really give a good
Oh, okay.
thing. But Rogue One actually was really, I enjoyed Rogue One.
So Rogue One is my number
Yeah, I
one.
wasn't. What was that?
Rogue One is my number one. So it goes Rogue One, Empire.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Rogue One, Empire, then New Hope, then let's see, Revenge of the Sith, and then man, I can't think of my order right now off the top of my head. But yeah, my top 3 are easy for me every time because that's the only ones I really go into.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
I
awesome.
love it all. I mean, I'll always watch it all, but I mean, if we're going one by one, it's like the whole story as a whole is great, but each individual movies, like I have my specific order that I would rather watch them in.
Who would you say is your favorite character? This is always one that I find interesting.
Ooh. Um. Hmm. I mean, I like so many characters for like so many different reasons, but I
Mm-hmm.
guess um I don't know. It's so hard. I
No,
don't
you're good. You're good.
it's
It's
so
a
hard
hard.
to
That's
pick just
that's a
like one
tough one,
person.
dude. It's really tough.
Yeah.
I'm only able to answer
Um
it, but it's not even a character from the actual movies, so people wouldn't even. Most people who watch or who only watch Star Wars won't even know my favorite character exists.
yeah.
He's it's Thrawn. Do you know who Thrawn
Let's
is?
hear it.
Thrawn? Do you know who Thrawn
I
is?
do. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Thrawn is my favorite
Yep.
character, dude. Just
That's
bad A.
that's a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. He's such a cool character. I last night I stayed up until like midnight finishing Rebels for the second time, the TV series, the little TV series they had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Best
So
cartoon
good.
ever.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. All right, dude. Last one here for you. Favorite non-music related hobby?
Uh, Probably gaming. Yeah,
Okay.
I still do like a lot of gaming. It doesn't hold my attention the way that it used to, but like I still have all like the consoles minus the newer ones because I can't find them anywhere.
Yeah, dude.
Uh, I
I
got my
lucked out,
PC
man.
and stuff. I play a lot of like Blizzard games and Call of Duty
Just
sometimes
like
and stuff.
World of
But
Warcraft and stuff.
what's that?
Like World of Warcraft or like
I play
Diablo or what?
like Overwatch,
Oh,
Diablo.
okay.
Playing a lot of Hearthstone lately.
Oh, nice. Hearthstone's the card one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They
I've
have
never
like
played
an
that one.
auto chess game mode now called Battlegrounds that I'm like super into.
Sick, dude. That's awesome. Yeah,
Quick game you can like play for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes and just play like a couple rounds and then you're done.
oh, that's where it's at, dude. I after this I'm probably gonna hop on and play some new Battlefield 2042.
Yeah. I want to get it.
Yeah, dude. I basically had to convince my wife to let me buy it because I found like I got like a 15 or 20% off coupon. So I was like, hey, if I
There you
use
go.
this, can I get it? And she's like, fine. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
man.
awesome, man.
And obviously, one last question for you. I saw obviously you got a little kiddo there. How old's your kid?
So he is going to be 4.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, coming up in February.
Dude, that's so fun. Oh
Yeah.
man, kids are just like crazy. They're so awesome. I've got two of my own, so every time I see
Oh,
people
there
with
you go.
kids, I'm like, dude, it's exciting. It's so much work, but it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Well, rad, bro. Thank you again. It was an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you
Absolutely,
taking the
man.
time and I'm gonna just beat a dead horse here, and say, dude, I'm glad that everything has worked out the way it has, and glad that you are making music and doing what you love because it's turning out fantastic. It's really good, and I commend you for all the hard work and it's paying off, dude. So keep it up.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you. We've been doing a lot of interviews over the past few weeks, and I gotta say this is definitely one of my favorites. So thank you
Uh,
for that. And you want to play some games? You got my my socials. You can hit me up. We'll
Oh
play some
heck
stuff.
yeah, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Maybe we'll figure out a way to get you Battlefield, get permission to get Battlefield and we'll
Yeah.
play some Battlefield. Or
Absolutely,
I
man.
think
Sounds like
Halo
a plan.
multiplayer. I think Halo multiplayer is gonna be free to play, so we can play some Halo.
Perfect. I'm
Dude, let's
about
do
it.
it. I would love that. That'd be so much fun. All right, dude. You have
Oh
a
yeah,
stellar
dude. I'm
evening,
about it.
man.
Um, yeah, you too.
All
Thanks,
right,
man.
man. Peace out. Awesome. What is this? I've got an update available. We'll get that figured out in just a second. Man, what a cool dude. I mean, the stuff he's overcome and like what he's doing, incredible. That is so freaking cool. What an inspiring story. If you didn't listen through the whole episode yet, holy cow. Do it. Do it. This one goes live in a few weeks, but check out their new music, Hidden Figures. It's they've got a brand new single out, featuring Ricky Armelino from I think it's Armelino from Ice Nine Kills. Be sure to check that out. And until next time, deuces.